A lot to talk about in regards to the NFL, both on the field and off the field. And joining us now on the Menard Studio hotline to dive into as much of it as we can is Ty Schalter, NFL featured columnist from Bleacher Report. Ty, thanks for the time. Let's get into, I guess, what has been the latest developments in this whole Jets Geno Smith situation. Enemkpali gets claimed by the Bills on the waiver wire a little over 24 hours after he broke the jaw of Geno Smith. Is there anything new that you know of in regards to that, or just some opinion on your part as to what this means for the Bills and what kind of role they may use him in?
I'm flat out astounded. I am astounded that he got picked up. I thought this was going to be, essentially a career ender. Maybe, sometime next year when teams are putting together training camp rosters, maybe. But I'm astounded he got picked up in 24 hours. Ian Rappaport, NFL media, said that apparently Enemkpali told his side of the story to the Bills, and that satisfied the Bills. But combined with the signing of Richie Incognito, the off-season escapades of offensive line coach Aaron Kromer, who had his own issues in Chicago immediately prior, it seems like Rex Ryan is going out and getting guys with temper problems, emotional problems, anger management issues, something, trying to bring that kind of pugnacious attitude to his team. In today's NFL, that is a very, very risky strategy at best, and one that I'm not sure is going to play particularly well if it keeps up. You don't want a locker room divided. You don't want guys punching other guys, and you're fostering a culture that I don't think is the right one to foster to have a cohesive winning team. And I don't think, certainly in today's NFL, that's one that most fans are looking to see in their team wearing their colors. So I'm not sure the fans of Western New York really totally pictured this when they signed Rex Ryan. But for good or for ill, just like Chip Kelly, Rex Ryan is going to go down. If he's going to go down, he's going to go down his way with his team exactly the way he wants it.
Well, it's always worked risk versus reward anytime you get a player with issues and things like that. And this guy doesn't have a whole lot of reward that's been shown, at least. I mean, he's only been in the league 1 year, but he had 3 tackles last year. He's not a starting linebacker. But nobody would know this guy better than Rex Ryan. He's only played for a year, and he played under Rex last year in New York. Is there something with this guy that Ryan sees that could make him worth the chance? I mean, that's the only way I could explain it.
Yeah, and the thing is, why now? There's not going to be a rush to sign this guy like maybe there would be with an Aldon Smith, where, okay, he's got a problem, but the upside is tremendous, and it's right there, and it's obvious, and everybody knows what it is. If this is a guy that only Rex Ryan knows what kind of player he could become, what kind of potential he has, he doesn't need to rush out and do it right now while people are still trying to process the reality of a backup linebacker smashing in and starting quarterback space. And like you said, going on, there's a risk reward to this, and it seems like Rex isn't just willing to take on the risk, but eager to take on the risk. Like, that's what he wants. Like, he's like, give me the risky guy. If there's a dude out there who has trouble containing his anger or trouble channeling it properly, give me that guy, because I want fire and I want, spunk or moxie or whatever it is. And I'm really worried that the risk is way outweighing the reward here. And again, risk that's a risk when you're building a new culture, building a new locker room, as you're trying to assemble this team that wants to compete, has the defensive talent certainly to compete for the AFC East title. I'm not sure that's the right strategy.
Talking to Ty Schalter, NFL featured columnist for Bleacher Report. It's Ford and O'Brien, ESPN Evansville 105.3. Let me ask you this. With all these stories, and we had the offseason that they had last year with Ray Rice and Greg Hardy and Ray McDonald and everything else that took place there, and now you've got this story with Enemkpali and Geno Smith. At the end of the day, though, it doesn't even hurt the NFL. I mean, almost 10 million people watch the Hall of Fame game on Sunday. Does it even matter in the end of the day that this stuff goes on?
Great question. And that's when the NFL is really trying to answer right now, because, a lot of the growth of the NFL, they cornered the market on the American sports fan 10, 15 years ago. And I think a lot of the kids of the 80s and 90s that have become the grown-ups of today are totally hooked heart and soul on this league. But it's the non-traditional sports fans, women, children, older people that have not been part of the NFL's demographic, jumping on board with this. That's really transformed the NFL into this ratings juggernaut. No other sports league is drawing any kind of eyeballs. The Hall of Fame game, the least meaningful preseason game, is outdrawing, cup finals, playoff finals of any other sport. So, part of that growth, like I said, comes from people who aren't used to this level of violence, this level of aggression, this level of, just not niceness that was always a part of the NFL in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and, still is really part of the game today. The NFL doesn't promote it that way. The NFL doesn't talk about it that way. But there are a lot of mean guys out there getting in basically, a trench combat, 70 times a game in, game out. And ultimately, sometimes that attitude wins. I'll be very curious to see if Rex's Bills continue to act this way, if he continues to sign players like this, and if that does turn off some of the fans of the Bills who've been loyal to that team for a long, long time.
Let's get into what is the latest there in the Deflategate situation, which I think everybody agrees it's so dumb that we're still talking about this 2 weeks into. Yeah, it's just, I can't believe it's gone on this long, but yet here we are. We know that they met with the judge today, and I'll tell you, Jimmy and I were talking about this earlier. I like this judge. He seems to not want to have to deal with this himself. Like, he even agrees that it's stupid. But from the things I read today for the public portion of the hearing or the meeting that took place before they did the individual closed door sessions, it feels to me like the NFL may not. I don't know that they're going to win this, is how it sounds to me.
There are a lot of questions here about what the NFL has done. And you're right, Judge Berman did really grill them on the independence of the Wells report and several other things like that. But, ultimately what this comes down to is the CBA, whether Commissioner Goodell violated the CBA, whether his ability to act to protect the integrity of the game, whether his ability to judge things conduct detrimental to the game and punish them, that's really what this comes down to. Because unless he violated the CBA, I really don't think that Judge Berman is going to be able to find any way to say that he, that he's flat out wrong and Tom Brady's flat out right. And he did say it seems like Patriots employees generally knew what was going on. Hard to prove from the Wells report that Brady specifically ordered them to do anything, but again, that was Ted Wells' original standard of proof that he had to prove it was more likely than not. Ultimately, I think both sides are in the wrong here. I don't think that Roger Goodell's 4-game punishment was anything more than a message to Tom Brady, to the Patriots, to the other 31 teams, that the Patriots are not getting off easy on this, that he can and will go hard after the Patriots, not really based on what Tom Brady did, but on the message he wanted to send, which, like it or not, that's consistent with the way that he has punished these sorts of crimes in the past, with the message it sends, finding somebody, making an example out of them. And, on Brady's side, on the union side, they want him to skate. It's like, I'm sorry. As soon as a Patriots ball boy who is preparing the balls to Brady's specifications takes the balls out into the bathroom after the official is okayed, then disappears with them, then texts about it, you have broken the rules. And it is inconceivable to me that a Patriots ball boy is doing stuff like that completely unbeknownst to the rest of the Patriots staff. So I don't think there's any way that they can get away with just having a fine as opposed to suspension, especially when the Patriots have prior integrity of the game convictions. So to me, this was always should have been reduced on appeal, always should have, settlement should have been come up with. This was months in the making, and it should have taken weeks to settle. And instead of spending all this time talking about the Patriots, what they did in the Super Bowl, and Tom Brady, instead of helping his team try and repeat, is in the court arguing this. It's a huge waste of everyone's time, and everyone looks worse for it. Even if one side wins, in quotation marks, nobody wins here. Everyone looks worse.
Well, the season's going to get underway with or without Tom Brady. that Thursday night game against Pittsburgh. We'll see if Brady's on the field or not. I guess a couple of questions. One, do the Patriots make the playoffs if Brady's out 4 games? And 2, who do you have in the Super Bowl as of right now?
Good question. For me, I honestly don't think Brady's suspension is going to determine whether it's 0 games, 1 game, 2 games, 3 games, 4 games. I think Jimmy Garoppolo has showed enough in games, not necessarily in practice, but he seems to be a gamer from what we've seen in the NFL. I think Bill Belichick, with the way he can adjust his game plan, manage his team, I think he can get 1-2 wins out of those 4 easily, no matter who's playing quarterback. And as we saw last year, starting season 2-2 didn't stop them from winning the Super Bowl. I think the biggest questions about that team have to do with the defense, just what they're going to do with the loss of Darrelle Revis, how they're going to continue to get stronger and bigger up front, really on both sides of the ball. Are they going to be improved on the offensive line, on the defensive line, both the pass game and the run game? Those are the big questions I have about the Patriots, and the quarterback is really not it. For me, the Super Bowl, I think the Packers are the best team in the NFC. I think they should have gone to the Super Bowl last year. I think they've gotten better somehow this year.
This guy.
To retain Randall Cobb, Brian Bulaga. I really do think the Packers are the best team in the NFC, and I'm going to take them. As of right now, all of the top contenders in the AFC have taken some serious hits. Whether that's New England, whether that's Denver, whether that's Baltimore. Now, there's a lot of injuries, a lot of question marks around all the very top teams. And I like maybe a 3-seed, 4-seed type, maybe even a wild card to end up coming out of the AFC, whether that's one of the AFC North teams, or maybe one of the AFC West teams. I'm not sure. A team that I like more and more, injury to Dontari Poe notwithstanding, Kansas City Chiefs. I really think they have a lot of balance. I think they have a lot of talent. I love the addition of Jeremy Maclin and Chris Conley, 2 fast, big receivers who are really good fits for that offense. I like still having Jamal Charles, obviously keeping Justin Houston around, the secondary, the front 7, the depth, the balance. I really do like the Kansas City Chiefs to make some noise this year. So right now, they're my dark horse sleeper pick. I do think they have what it takes to come out of the AFC. I don't think they have what it takes to beat the Packers, to answer your next question.
Well, that makes Jimmy happy. He's a huge Packers fan, so you're good in his book right there. Ty Schalter, NFL featured columnist for Bleacher Report. Ty, we appreciate the time. Thanks so much. Hopefully we can do it again once the season gets underway.
Absolutely my pleasure. Anytime.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Take care.